Week 15 of the fantasy football season with a playoff start, and here's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers this week. The first quarterback, Aaron Rodgers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last week, he turned the clock back in that matchup at the Baltimore Ravens. We know Rodgers, he's not 100% with the broken bones in his left hand, but went out there in week 14 and, like I said, had a good ball game. Last few weeks for Rodgers, week 11 versus Cincinnati, 116 pass yards, a touchdown. Week 12, he was out with the hand injury. Week 13 versus Buffalo, horrible game, 117 pass yards, a fumble loss. In week 14 at Baltimore, like I said, he had a big game in that one, 284 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 passing, and even a reception for -9 yards. So this week, a good matchup. Monday Night Football, Miami Dolphins coming in. I know this receiving core isn't great of this Pittsburgh Steelers team, but we did see Jaylen Warren catch a touchdown on the screen, and so Metcalf finally have a big game for 148 yards. So this week, in deeper leagues, I think Rodgers, he could go out there on Monday night with an extra day's of rest, and him and Metcalf starting to lock in a little bit and be a decent sleeper option, and he's still out there in 75% of fantasy leagues. Next quarterback, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. So we've seen some big games from Bryce Young this season, and now he's available in 83% of fantasy leagues. So coming off a bye week and a decent matchup at the New Orleans Saints, I think Young could be a decent sleeper option. I know going back to week 10, he had a horrible game versus Saints defense, 124 pass yards, an interception and a fumble loss in that one. But the last 2 out of 3 weeks, he's had big games. Week 11 at Atlanta, 448 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, a 2-point conversion. Week 12 at the Niners, 169 pass yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, 15 rush yards. And week 13 in the upset victory versus the Rams, 206 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, 23 rush yards. So like I said, he went out there in week 13 versus one of the better defenses in the league, and he had a nice ball game, and that one was Bryce Young. So this week, I think he could go out there at New Orleans. I know early in the season, it was a bad game for him, but an indoor game is always a plus, and coming off a bye week as well is a plus. So with those factors, I think Young could be a decent sleeper option. And the final quarterback, Marcus Mariota of the Washington Commanders. Mariota out there in 91% of fantasy leagues, and in spot starts this season, he's been pretty decent as Mariota. And now we know Jaden Daniels, he's going to be out this week, and it wouldn't be surprising, obviously, if they just rule him out for the season. And there's no reason to push him 3-10 on the season is this Commander team. So the last 3 starts for him: week 10 versus Detroit, 213 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 rush yards. Week 11 at the Dolphins, 213 pass yards, a touchdown, interception, 49 rush yards. In week 13 versus Denver, 294 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, 55 rush yards. So week 14, he came in for a little bit, and it was a bad performance. But now this week, obviously practicing as a starter. Good matchup on paper at the Giants. They give up the 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the season. And also we know Marcus Mariota, he'll get you 4 to 5 points off the bat just running the football with his rushing ability. And obviously with a healthy receiving core of Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel is always a plus. So with those factors, I think Mariota could be a decent sleeper option this week. So that's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers for week 15 of the fantasy football season.